everyone. Welcome back to Business as a Magical Practice. I am so excited you're here today. We have a special New Year's centric episode with a special guest, Alejandra Luisa León. And you may know her from Instagram as the Lioness Oracle or from her tarot deck, the Lioness Oracle. But Alejandra works in the field of tarot and astrology and is an artist. She has created 3 divination decks with hand collaged artwork: the Lioness Oracle Tarot, the Stars Divine, and Vision of the Muse. She provides reading, teaches classes, and shares information about the stars and tarot symbolism via social media. And today she's going to be doing a tarot reading for all of us spiritual entrepreneurs and what we can expect for the year and how we can use this energy going forward. So thank you so much for joining me, Alejandra.
Thanks for having me. I'm so here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I want to start off before we start pulling cards, just if you can give a quick intro on what tarot is for people who don't know. I assume most people who are listening know, but they might not know some deeper layers. And then also, why do people turn to tarot? Why would they come to you as a client?
Sure. Tarot is a deck of 78 cards. It's been around, like on paper, no, for sure, since medieval times. It's possible that the symbolism of it is older than that, but we know for sure that it turned up in medieval times. And it's a deck of 78 cards, like I said, divided into 2 parts: the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana are these archetypes of our collective unconscious, cards like the Fool, the Magician, the Empress, the High Priestess, and so forth, telling us what lessons we're working through. And then the minor arcana is a lot like playing cards. They're 4 suits of cups, wands, swords, and pentacles that can describe what our daily life is looking like give us detailed descriptions of what we're going through. And together, the whole deck is a really good guide. It can tell you where you are, where you're headed. It can answer questions. It's like going to an oracle, going to someone for wise advice, basically. And my clients typically come to me because they're in times of transition, or they want to know what best decision to make with love, with career, with their life, or they just need help getting through a hard time. Any sort of guidance like that is typically what people come to me for. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And I mean, another question that popped in my head while you were speaking is, how did you get into having a tarot and astrology based business? Was this something you've always been doing, or was it a pivot at some point? What did that look like?
It was definitely a pivot. I got into astrology and tarot when I was a teenager, and it was something that was always like one of my favorite hobbies, something I was always studying. I was always, reading my friends' charts or reading their cards, or my family as well. And then I had a big life-changing event in my Saturn return. Your Saturn return occurs like at 29:30. And my brother passed away and my father passed away. And those life events really pushed me into this career. It's just what happened. I started making astrology and tarot decks out of my artwork. I went full-time reading other people. Before, it had been like a part-time thing, something I would do like on the side. And yeah, it just kind of happened. It wasn't something that I had necessarily planned on. It was definitely something that just kind of became what I started doing. And once I started doing it, it felt very aligned and meant to be.
That's so beautiful. And feel free to not answer this question, but because I know a lot of listeners are interested in bringing more and more spiritual practices into their business, or they have a more traditional career, traditional based business, and they'd love to do like jump into astrology, jump into tarot. How long did it take you to go from it being a side hustle, part-time thing to it being able to fully support you?
That's a good question. I would say it took me like 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
I'd say after 2 years, things were really rolling. things were really picking up pace, and I was starting to be like known in the community and getting more clients and gigs and whatnot. And then once my deck came out, that was like really a catalyst for the business being ultra sustainable. So having a product to go with the services definitely pushed it forward. But yeah, and when I say 2 years, it doesn't necessarily have to take that long. In the first year was just, doing it part-time, seeing how lucrative it could be. I was still working my other job, and I'd say the second year I was really pushing, like really like trying to just do it full time, and I quit my other jobs. And it took a year for me to feel like comfortable, like I wasn't like scraping by. So yeah, I'd say 2-ish years, 3 years. Someone who hustles a little faster than me might be able to like make it happen faster than that. I can kind of be slow sometimes. So yeah, it depends, but that's how it was for me.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
And now I'm really curious. With your decks, is it something that you feel like, does it bring in a good chunk of revenue for you? Or do you feel like it's more of this visibility press, help boost your expertise and people seeing you as an expert?
The decks are definitely my main source of income.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's actually flipped. It was like before I was really hustling like the readings and the events and, doing those things before my deck came out. But once my deck came out, that became my main source of income. And then obviously adding a second and a third deck to that. And there's just a lot of time that goes into that. I'm doing custom. I'm offering wholesale and retail and, self-publishing my work. So I have to keep up with that. And I think all of that energy that I'm like putting into that, it just kind of like naturally makes that the main thing. But I do have a reading practice
Mhm.
on the side that helps a lot. It supplements my work, and I teach too. So those two things, they help me out a lot and they supplement. And if I put more energy into those two things, they can kind of help. They
Mhm.
help support each other basically. So yeah.
Amazing. Oh, that's not what I expected you to answer. So that's really cool to hear,
Oh,
especially for like it.
yeah.
I assume you mentioned you self-publish it. So you're the one going to the shops to put it in. You're the one selling it on your website. You're doing all of that. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm the one having it printed, having it, like I'm doing all because I don't have a publisher. And then yes, with my online shop, I'm doing all of the work as far as making sure it's carried everywhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you for indulging me.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I would love to jump into actually doing our tarot reading for the year. You guys, I made Alejandra wait to shuffle because I figured it'd be fun for us to do it all together. So I will let you take over and do what you do.
Okay. Fun. Okay. So I'm going to shuffle the deck for the collective for your audience. For the 12 months of the year, I'm going to pull one card for each month to give some guidance as to how each month could look when applied to your work, when applied to your career. And it's possible too that some of these things might show up in your personal life as well, since, the more support you have in your personal life, then, the better you can show up for work and all of that. So we'll see what they say. And the collective major arcana card for 2023 is the Chariot. And we get to that because 2 + 2 + 3 equals 7. So that's the major arcana card year for everyone for this year, which is pretty good for business because the Chariot is when you're moving forward. It's when the ball is rolling and things are happening. It's, they don't feel stuck or stagnant. There's a lot of potential for feeling like there's positive movement. So that's the collective card. That's the collective energy. So that's a good thing. Okay, I'm going to shuffle it one more time and deal the cards. Okay. Okay, so starting off with this month, with January, we are getting the 10 of Wands. Okay. So there's like a forest fire in the background, but
Oh, what deck are you pulling from?
my deck, the Lioness Oracle Tarot.
Okay, perfect. Because you have 3 decks.
Yes, yes. So this is my tarot deck. The other 2 are like oracle decks, which are
Okay. Hmm.
decks that aren't in the tarot format. But yeah, this is the traditional tarot format that we're using that
Cool.
has the 4 suits and the major arcana.
And you guys, if you're listening to the podcast, you can head on over to YouTube. We'll put the full episode up on YouTube if you want to see what each of the cards look like. Or I mean, you can just buy her deck.
Yes. Okay, so we have the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands it represents an intensity, a feeling that there's a lot to carry, or there's a lot to deal with, a lot on the shoulders. And it can be like literally there's a lot of things that you have to do, but it can sometimes just be like energetically or emotionally it feels intense. This month, we started off the new year with Mercury in retrograde, with Mars in retrograde. And so that naturally like slowed things down a lot. And so sometimes when the energy is slow and you can't get things moving that the way you want to, there can be an internal feeling of intensity, like you're ready to burst with the stress or with the things that you're wanting to happen. So the reason I put like the Buddha figure in the center is because there's a need for self-care. There's a need for soothing the stress, for soothing the anxiety, for relieving that overwhelm in some way. So, this is a good month to, instead of overwhelming yourself with stress with whatever work is bringing forward or whatever you want to manifest with work, it's a better month to use stress relieving techniques or, mindfulness practice, meditation, self-care, whatever is going to kind of alleviate the overwhelm is what's happening. I just saw that, there were like 24 airline companies or just something. I saw something intense about like so many flights got canceled like today or something like that. And, so that could be it. It's like you're trying to get somewhere and you can't, or, your power, here in California, we're having thunderstorms and we're having power outages, flooding, so it's like whatever's coming up that is like putting things on halt and is also like stressing you out, or if it's things in your personal life, like this is a month to just really like step back and like try to alleviate some of that pressure, because we have a completely different energy for February. So like this month is just kind of like alleviate the intensity in whatever way you can. That's the main focus. And then in February, we have a complete energy. We have the 4 of Wands. So there's like a celebration. There's like a happy feeling here in this image. And things are going to feel totally different. Mercury will be direct, Mars will be direct. It's really going to start to feel like the new year in February. Like that's when it really feels like it's starting fresh. That's when it's like, yay, like what I wanted to happen is happening, or, things like they're moving. I really feel like I accomplished something, or, I hit that goal, or, I started that thing, or, it's just like, there's a lot more of like a lighter energy in February. So that will be a good month to like start new things, or, launch new things, or, just really kind of get the chariot movement will really start feeling like it's happening in February. So right now it's just kind of like, it is what it is.
Mhm.
And in February, it will get better. It'll shift. It'll change.
So we had traditional astrologer Robin Langford on, I think 2 weeks ago for doing the astrology for 2023. And she was pretty much just like, don't consider the year to actually start until January 22nd. Like it just like doesn't start. So
Exactly.
yeah, so it sounds like the tarot is really reflecting that too.
It is. And they really do, as tools, work hand in hand, I feel like. So I love that. I love that she said that. And it really is true. In March, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So the Seven of Pentacles represents that things are growing, things are blossoming, but there is some patience to await the fruit of that. This is a card that can be likened to when you are growing a crop and you are seeing that that crop is showing results, it's showing its buds or whatever, but you still have to wait just a little bit to really find out how it's going to turn out and how big it's going to get, or to be able to harvest. So it may feel in March like you have to wait for a few things to happen, or there's some patience on, it's like February's like, oh my God, it feels so good, and then March is like, it's not that it feels bad, but it might feel a little slower than February felt. It might, and so this will be a good month to fine tune things, make sure that their loose ends are tied up, make sure that systems are in place that you want to be in place, and then just be in like positive expectation instead of negative expectation. Like try to, if you need to do like a gratitude practice, or, again, some of that like mindfulness or like calming techniques that we learned in January, they will really be beneficial again in March. And again, it's not the exact same thing. It's not that feeling of like, wow, this is like so stressful. It's more just like, oh, I just really want this to move a little faster than it is. But it's all about divine timing, and that there is a perfect day for this fruit to show itself. And we don't want to rush that, because then we might lose it altogether, is basically what this card is saying. So that's the energy of March. And again, it shifts because in April, we have the sun. So the sun is a major arcana card of happiness, of joy, of showing yourself to the world, of everyone seeing you, of feeling confident. So this is a self-realized month. This is a month where things with your business can really feel like they're shining, really feel like they're going well. And, April is spring, it's springtime. It's the month is shared by Aries and by Taurus. So it's like, there's the fire of Aries season and, feeling like, I'm energetic and ambitious and all of these things. And then there's Taurus, where you feel very embodied, possibly like very abundant and fruitful, so it's springtime. So, the energy of the sun will help with, we get so much from the sun. We get vitamin D, and we get all of this like sustenance from the sun itself. And I feel like that will really be helping with whatever you're working on, with whatever you're trying to bring forward. There's just a sense of joy here. So there's a sense of joy in the work and joy in what you're doing in April. So I love that. So a little bit in the first 4 months of the year of kind of like a back and forth, where it's like January is feeling kind of chaotic. It's feeling a little bit overwhelming, and you need to just like take care and slow down. And then February, just time to celebrate. Things are going well. Maybe some things have come to fruition, and, some accomplishments have been made. And then in March, you just have to persevere. You have to just like persevere through that and keep going and don't give up hope. And then in April, it's like, yay, things are going really, really good. Things are going really well.
But
So then
it's not too long of a time period of like going down into some.
yeah, there's actually a healthy balance in the first 4 months of the year. Yeah, a healthy balance of like, okay, a little bit of a test, and then you come through it, a little bit of a test, then you come through it.
Mhm.
And then in June, we have the Hanged Woman, also known in other decks as the Hanged Man. So really, this card, it's a lot like the Seven of Pentacles card, actually, that we got in, was that March? Yeah, March.
March, yeah.
It's a patience card. It's a patience card. It's a wait for the right time, do some review. I didn't check in with the astrology forecast before this session, but we could be having like another retrograde, or eclipse season might start around that time, or there just might be something in June that is like, okay, just
I can tell you because
good.
Robin made me this lovely little spreadsheet. Here, I can
Perfect.
show you of like, okay, but we're in this for June. It looks like Pluto final act in Capricorn starting in June, Saturn retrograde,
Yeah.
Gemini new moon, solstice.
Oh, nice.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
If you wanted to know.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. I love that. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, this is some kind of collective energy of, just kind of needing to, again, wait for the right time. The Hanged Woman is basically teaching you to sit with what is, to, just let things be, and just like await the mystery of the outcome, and not need to know every answer in this exact moment. So again, it's kind of practicing stillness and just waiting things out. So there is kind of a push and pull with April or March, April, June. It's like March and June are cards where you're like, maybe February and April are months where like, certain goals or certain things were launched, and certain things, really like picked up some pace. And then March and June are like, okay, now we, keep getting all our ducks in a row. Like, we kind of wait for the next best time, or we just kind of let things kind of integrate or whatever, so there's kind of this like cyclical thing that we're having in the first half of the year.
So in times like this, with like the March and June and January where it's heavier or more trying, is it better just to like do things you enjoy and take care of yourself, or is that like a good time to do shadow work and stuff like that?
Oh gosh, yes. Times of patience, excellent time for shadow work. Definitely, definitely. Because I do feel like those moments of stillness, they can be triggering, because we live in a fast-paced society, and especially with our businesses, and if we're it's like, let's just always be seeing results and like always be productive, and and in these moments where we kind of have to wait things out a little bit, they can be very triggering, and feelings of failure or insecurity or anxiety, or all kinds of things can come up in those time periods, fear of the unknown of the future. So yeah, it's a really good time for shadow work, like, and going into those feelings, and seeing what's underneath that, see if there's anything from childhood or anything currently that's triggering that. I think it's really good. And I think in doing those moments of shadow work, you can see like so much, there is like this burst of growth right after that, and you can see like more revenue or more progress, or when you really go into those moments. So yeah, I definitely think so. And then for the other bit of it, yes, I think it's good to balance shadow work with what brings you joy, with self-care, with just living your life, enjoying your daily life. I definitely think that's important. So yes and yes, I think in moments when you need to be patient, like just, relaxing a little more, doing what you love, and then also doing some shadow work, because that will just you'll be able to like move forward in a better way, and you'll see material results from it. So yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Definitely. And it's the cards are really indicating, I think, for whoever's tuning in, for whoever's listening, they're really indicating that that's kind of going to happen, there's whoever's really doing the work, this month in January, and the work in January is kind of like, can you just slow down and just wait and be patient and just take care of yourself, or, take care of those stressors, then they're really going to see some really positive growth in February. And then people who are doing that work of like, okay, I'm feeling triggered about having to be patient or having to wait this out, or, feeling like I want this to happen now in March, are really going to feel like this, like, birth in April. And then in June, yeah, just being able to just kind of be like, okay, like, push this right now. I just need to hang out. This time we get kind of a different shift in July with the death card. So, but this is good. This is really good. And actually, in the tarot, in the major arcana journey, because it is a journey through the 22 cards, it's number 12, the hanged man or hanged woman, and then it's death directly after. So we're having that show up for June and July. It is a natural process, and it's actually something you want to happen, that after you had to kind of wait it out and be suspended for a little bit, then you compost, you shed a snake skin, if you will, you form, transmute what that was. So we're getting like a summer transformation of some kind here, where you kind of integrate some stuff in June, and then you're really shedding a snake skin. You're getting ready to become a butterfly, whatever metaphor of transformation you want to use. That's really happening in July. And actually, death can be really fruitful for things you're wanting to happen, because if you're able to let go of the stuff that is old, it's tired, it's dead now, if you're really able to slough off that, it's like exfoliation, right? Like, you're going to get that like bright new shiny skin if you exfoliate. Or so that's kind of what it is. It's like you're exfoliating your business or yourself in July, and it's going to yield to a really good thing, because in August we have the King of Pentacles, which is a very prosperous business card. I mean, this is the card that you want to get when you're asking about your business, because it means like everything is set in place, everything is prosperous, it's organized, it's secure, it's that kind of a thing. So this transformation in June and July is really worth it, because of what it brings in August. In Leo season, there's the lion here. So yeah, I'd say whoever's in and whoever finds themselves in over the summer kind of going through a transformation with their work, honor it, go with it, because it can yield to like some seriously prosperous results in August. So, and long lasting, because the King of Pentacles is like, it's not just like, oh, like, I had some extra money for a week. It's like, this is the kind of security that you want to have long term, where you can like have a retirement account and like have your investments and like have, numbers monthly that are really sustaining your business and sustaining you. That's King of Pentacles territory. So be looking in August to what's going well, and that's actually a really good sign to keep going in that direction.
Okay. And then maybe the mantra during July is like, this is working for my highest good. This is
Yeah, whatever's coming up.
over and over again, because it sounds like July could be trying.
Yeah. I mean, death, it can be, it depends. It's most trying when it's hard to let go of whatever wants to go. Like, if it feels like you're grieving over that, like it was something you didn't want to let go of. Like, say it was some kind of project or some kind of partnership that's showing itself in July, that's like, I actually have to scratch this. I actually have to let this go. Like, I actually have to like start over. That could be painful. That could cause grief, but that will be the struggle of it. And if you can just be like, this is what needs to happen, then it's going to lead to something better in August. So that's a good thing to think of it. If it feels sad that something didn't work out, or you had to like let something go, or you have to start something over, or you have to like let go a practice or a way of doing something in your business that you were used to or you were really hopeful about. I mean, gosh, like maybe even just got the wrong accountant or something and you have to like get a new one, and you were really hoping that that accountant was going to help you like reach 6 figures or something. I don't know. But, and you find out it's not the case. You have to start over. I don't know. It's something that, or, you know, you were going to have a business partner, they didn't work out and you have to like start over, whatever it is. It's like, just know that it's for your highest good. Exactly. And that it's, if you go with it, then there's something even better coming in August. So yeah. So then we have September. Let's see. Am I right? January, February, March, April. Audience. I skipped a month. I skipped a month. Sorry about that. It is Mercury retrograde, so I'm having a Mercury retrograde moment. So let's just back up for 1 second, and just everything that I just talked about is actually applying to May and June and July, and not June, July, and
Makes so much
August.
more sense with, because in May is the Scorpio lunar eclipse. So that would make sense with the Hanged Woman. So
Okay,
here we go.
so just a little bit of Mercury retrograde in real time in this session. Let's go back. May,
quick
Hanged
recap.
Woman, because of that eclipse. That totally makes sense, right? When you're in eclipse season, you do have to just kind of be in a process, you know? So for some of you business folks, this is going to bring up having to kind of be suspended in some kind of process. And in June, you get the Death card, which is ruled by Scorpio. So eclipses always bring a death process, but those in Scorpio even more, because that is the sign of death and rebirth. So eclipse is going to bring a big transformation for whatever is coming up for you in your life or in your work. But it will yield like a shiny new thing in July. So the King of Pentacles is actually July. Sorry about that. But so that same process is happening from spring, May into June into July, that Hanged Woman, Death, King of Pentacles. Okay, so, and that makes sense, right? That makes sense because of eclipse season. So, and you know, we've already had some practice with eclipse season. They happen twice a year. And, you know, the one that we had back in end of October into November was really gnarly, I know, for a lot of us. And so if you just look back into like how you feel like you came out of that this time around and like made some changes, it might be hard to really pin down because Mars continued to be retrograde until tomorrow is when it goes direct. So
And
there may have still been kind of
this
like
episode comes out January 12th. So if you're listening to this now, it means that Mars is out of retrograde.
Yes. Yes. It's out of retrograde, and we're going to be seeing like kind of all the lessons of that into March. And so, and according to this reading in February, I think a lot of positivity.
A quick question, just because I kind of know about eclipses, but kind of don't know about eclipses. I know they kind of come in packet. They go in like, there a few of them together are like are along the same axis. So are you saying the one that happened in November of 2022 is the same kind of vibe as the one that is coming in June?
You know, all eclipses kind of have a similar vibe in the sense that they're like really supercharged endings, and they do travel in pairs. So we get, because it's a new moon and a full moon, so we get a new moon solar eclipse, and then we get a full moon lunar eclipse, or sometimes it can happen like the lunar eclipse happens first, and the new moon solar eclipse happens. Occasionally there will be a third one it wrapped up in the bundle. A lot of times it's 2, but occasionally there'll be a third one, but most of the time it's 2. And due to the nature of like eclipsing the sun, you know, a blood moon, you know, it is just this, a lot of transformation, a lot of endings and beginnings are always seen with every eclipse, no matter what sun. The ones that we had in 2022 were especially that way because they involve Scorpio. Scorpio is that death and rebirth. They're like particularly heavier. And the one in May is also in Scorpio, we're saying. That's what
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if having one more on that axis or not, or whether we were
I'm seeing
finished.
Aries solar eclipse in April and Scorpio lunar eclipse in May. And then for October, November, we have Libra solar eclipse, Taurus.
So that's what I thought. I had
Uh-huh.
thought that it was going to shift to the Aries Libra this year,
I'm so glad
but
because
so
October, November kicked my ass so hard.
yeah, anyone with signs Taurus and Scorpio in the last couple years were really being hit hard, or anyone in the fixed signs like Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or water signs, or earth signs. So the Aries Libra, yeah, get ready, Aries Libra people who have like strong Aries placements, strong Libra placements. That's what's coming up next. So it'll have a different flavor because of the Aries Libra. Taurus, Scorpio, they were really heavy because it was like Scorpio with the death and the rebirth and like the deep healing and the need to go really, really deep. And Taurus with like, are you living your life as joyously as you can be? Are you enjoying it? And those two balance each other out, like just being able to enjoy life and being able to kind of go deep and like heal whatever you need to heal. Aries and Libra will be like yourself with Aries, like your own sense of like agency and ambition and confidence and your own sense of freedom, and balanced with relationships in Libra.
Yeah.
And reciprocity. And so it's going to be about the relationship between how you give to yourself, but how you give to others, and what's out of balance, basically. Aries, because it's ruled by Mars, will definitely involve a lot of career, just because we use that Mars energy for ambition to further our own desires. So there will be some of that. And in business, it could be like Libra, like how are you relating to your employees, to your business partners, to your colleagues, your community, if you're speaking to an audience, or, versus your own relationship with yourself in your business. So yeah, that will be coming this year, but it sounds like we have like one more in Scorpio just to finish. So yeah, Scorpio isn't done yet. And so a little bit more of that kind of heavy vibe, a little bit, just one more of those. But eclipses tend to feel heavy no matter what, just because it's shadow work, basically. So that we're doing. So a little bit of that in May and June, with a nice outcome in July with the King of Pentacles. So if you work with your eclipse lessons, then you will come out of that. And then in August, a little bit of a prickly energy with the Knight of Swords. So depending on who's tuning in and, where you're at in your biz or with yourself, the Knight of Swords can show up in a couple of different ways. The Knight of Swords, it's a knight with a sword. It's a warrior. So it can concern conflicts and fighting and arguments and boundaries and all of that. So there could be some things within the workplace or within life where you're having like some disagreements with others, or you're having to like, talk about boundaries or different viewpoints or things like that. It's a card that can be aggressive. So if there are any issues with anyone in the workplace, being aggressive, or you're feeling like you're being aggressive, that could be like a thing. Sometimes it's just like a hit the ground running kind of card. It's like Mars kind of. It's like an aggressive energy. So depending on how it's being used. So I think the best way to ask questions in August is like, how am I using that fire impulse within me, like that aggressive impulse within me? Like, does it have a good channel? Like, and is it balanced? Like, some folks aren't aggressive enough with what they want to achieve, and they're feeling like a little bit shy or meek or insecure, or like they're not going after what they want enough, and they need a little bit of this as medicine. Others are like going so hard and they like need to like take a step back, like soften a little bit, because this is an energy that no matter what, it's medicine for little bits of time. You don't want to like be running on this kind of energy long term, because it's going to lead to burnout, or you're not going to have any friends, or like you're not, it's just kind of, it's like that it's like claws out kind of energy, which depending on where you're at can either be a medicine or a poison. So just with the Knight of Swords in August, be asking yourself, like, how am I using my aggression, my sense of ambition? Does it need more of an outlet? Does it need to be transmuted or tempered a little bit? Are there hard conversations that I'm having with anyone, or that I need to have? Do I need a little bit of courage around that? No, am I working with a boundary issue? So yeah, it's kind of a prickly, difficult energy, but so just for different people might be kind of coming out in like a different way. So that's August energy. And then in September, we have another king. So like the King of Pentacles in July, we're working with a similar energy in September with the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is another really good career card, because the King of Pentacles, it's like you've got all the security, all the resources, all of the revenue, all of that is really strong, and you've got that organized really well. The King of Wands is, you're proud of what you're doing. It's for those of us who actually love our work and feel like we're really good at it, and we feel like our skills are really coming forward, and people are recognizing those, and our craft is really strong, our sense of mastery over like what we know and what we do. So there's again like some shininess here. With September is a good month to ask yourself, like, am I aligned with what I'm doing? Do I feel like are able to be displayed properly? Do I have a proper outlet for that? Have I been studying something for a really long time, and is it time to like really like showcase that and like tell people about that? And so it's a very confident energy. In you think of like what's coming to me is like the Michelin star chef or something is like a King of Wands, like they're like known, they're written about, it's that kind of an energy, of really being recognized for what you do. So there's some energy around that in September, which is really good. So some people who are tuning in are really going to feel like, like just really good at what I do. And that's part of bringing in the income, right? Is like the more you feel good about it and you're putting in that positive energy and you're loving what you do, then it kind of like the universe responds to that and responds to you. So that's an energy of September. And which is the rest, I have to say, before I go forward, like the rest of the year is very positive.
Yeah.
Good. So there's like, I feel like we're seeing some tests and some transformation processes going all the way up until August. But fall and winter, as far as this reading and, this business reading is concerned, is actually really potential for a lot of really good stuff, because we have, that confidence in September. And then in October, something is coming to fruition. Something is like something that you've been striving towards all year long has the potential to manifest in this month, in October. It has the potential to complete its cycle, to like be fulfilled. So, if you were working on hitting like a certain number income wise, and it was a goal you had like maybe October is the first month that you really see that happen. Or you had like
card. I can't really read it.
Oh, it's called The World.
Oh, The World. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's the last major arcana card of the major arcana series, which just indicates that self-realized, actualized moment where you're the hero or the heroine or everything fruition. And it's, you know, all of these movies we see where the hero goes out at the beginning and goes through all of these different situations and then comes out and saves like the world at the end, you know, is the mythology like encompassed in this. And so when it comes up in a reading, it's like, okay, you hit that goal basically. So there's some goal that you are striving towards that comes to fruition in October. So that's exciting. That's really exciting. There's
Very exciting.
going to be some things wrapping up there. And so November, you'll be celebrating that because you get the Six of Wands. So the Six of Wands is about feeling victorious, about feeling aligned and feeling like you are leading the torch on something, you know? So whatever fruition that was in October, like you're feeling so victorious about it in November and you just feel like you can celebrate it. You feel like you're aligned with the right people, the right community, you're in the right place. People are recognizing you for it. It's just November's really, really, really good too. And so is December because the Ace of Pentacles. So I would say world is showing up in October, and that's kind of like a positive ending, you know, whereas with death, it's not that death is a negative ending. It's just that sometimes we're sad to say bye. Whereas the world, we're not sad to say bye. We're like, oh my God, I like got here finally. And you're like super happy and you're celebrating.
Like celebrating at the end of a
Something,
marathon where it's like you're proud of
yeah,
yourself and like
exactly.
you did it and it's come to an end.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. A marathon, or like say trying to buy a house for a year and then like you finally buy the house. You're like glad that that journey is over. Or, you know, you were going to publish something and, you know, it's finally published. It came out. Everyone's reading it, whatever, you know, that's like a good world moment. And then you're celebrating that in November. And then in December, you're ready for something new because you're really ready for 2024 big time, because the Ace of Pentacles has arrived, showing you that like, okay, now you're ready for new goals. Now you're ready for like the next step. You're ready for like the new thing to arrive. So, you know, use, you know, that energy again, like, you know, maybe like your book comes out, everyone's reading it, you're celebrating it in November, then you're like, oh, I have the idea for my next book, is kind of like the Ace of Pentacles. Or, you know, you hit your financial goal and you're celebrating that. Well, then it's like, okay, like, well, now that I hit that goal, I'm able to like invest now. That's like my new goal now, you know, or you paid off your debt or something. And like, now you're ready to like actually like save or something, you know, it's just like, you're ready for that new thing, that new next best thing in December. So I love that. It's like, it's a very clean ending to this reading and kind of an indicator that maybe, you know, because November and December were really, I'd say September through December were really challenging in 2022. So maybe the end of this year won't be so intense.
I mean, it sounds good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope for that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was so good. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so fun to do that. And it'll be really exciting to see like throughout the year if people like refer back and they're like, I really am going through that, or like I really am pulling that card right now, or you
Yeah,
know,
we'll have to do some like posts throughout the years, or like send out some emails throughout the year being like,
yeah.
are you feeling shitty right now? It's okay.
Yeah.
This was expected. Like, do something you like and
Yeah.
do some shadow work.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Alejandra. This was so fun and so useful. I'm like gonna plan my year around it.
Good.
And then where can people go deeper with you? Where can they find you online? How can they work with you? All the things.
Well, you can go to my website, which is thelionessoracle.com. And my decks are available there. Also, if you sign up for my newsletter, that's where I announce like if I'm going to teach a class or when I announce my books are open for the month for readings. I always announce it through there. I also announce things like that through my Instagram. The Lioness Oracle is my handle. So you can follow me on there as well. And those are the two best places.
Perfect. Do you have any closing thoughts or words of wisdom for everyone?
Closing thought. Yes, I'd say given, what we were talking about with the eclipses and the shadow work transformations, if I've learned anything, it's that when things are hard and you're feeling challenged, if you really go into that vulnerable, uncomfortable spot and like really meditate into that, or like do therapy into that, or, seek the guidance or whatever, and you do the work, then you can really like rise to the next level. I keep finding that in my life is that, things will get really shitty or really hard. And if I, just really am like, okay, what's the lesson, in this, then I really do round the corner and like, the next best thing does come in, or like I'm able to make the changes that I was wanting to make. So I'd say I'd ride the wave with that this year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know everyone is going to get so much out of this episode. And have a great week, everyone. And go check out thelionessoracle.com and the Instagram, and follow Alejandra everywhere. Bye, guys.
Hey.